Good evening, everybody. It is Thursday night. It's time for the StepSaidIt podcast. Y'all know my name. I am Stephen B. This is my little piece of the world, my little piece of the internet. We call it StepSaidIt. Shannon Sharp says he is the proprietor of Club Shay Shay, while I am the proprietor of StepSaidIt podcast. So once again, good evening. And for those of you who are watching me on the playback, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time of day it is when you're watching the show. So glad you took the time to join me on tonight. Once again, this is the StepSaidIt podcast. This is the place where if you have questions and you ask me, I'll answer it. I'll tell you. Open, honest conversation. It's not always easy. It's not always best. And it's probably not always the most popular. But I tell you, it will always be honest. It will always be genuine. And it will always be my point of view. So thank you all again for joining me on tonight. I am so excited about the show that we have. Wait, y'all, hold on one second for me. Hold on. Be right back. All right. Sorry about that. I knew something was missing. Tearing up my set and everything. Calm down, sir. Get yourself together. Don't act like this your episode 1. This is episode 10 of StepSaidIt podcast. That means we've been doing this now for 10 weeks, going strong, being consistent, giving the people what they want. Or at least this is what I think the people what I did. That didn't work. I'm gonna have to run that back and try that again. This is week 10, which means for 10 weeks, we've been giving the people what they want. And if it's not what the people want, the people have not told me otherwise. So we're about to get into the show. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining me on tonight. The other thing that you are always going to get from the StepSaidIt podcast is you're going to get genuine, you're going to get authentic, and you're going to get real, mistakes and all. Because this is just how life hands it to us. And this is what we do. Now, I do want you all to please take a moment, get involved, get engaged, get excited. Join in the conversation with me. If you are watching via Facebook or YouTube, if you send me a comment, drop that comment, and I can pop it up on the screen. Now, if you're watching via Instagram, I can't necessarily show you comment on the screen, but I am watching, so I see it. And if you have something to say, I promise you I'm going to put it up on the screen. And so before we get into the show, I do want to give honor to say on last week, and I did not realize this happened until the end of the show. But on tonight, on the StepSaidIt podcast, we remember the juice. O.J. Simpson, his formal name. His formal name is Orenthal James Simpson. On July the 9th, he came into this earth realm, and on April the 10th of 2024, he departed. Now, there are so many things that could be said about O.J. Simpson that happened to him starting 1994. However, those are not the things that I want to talk about on tonight, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to highlight the dark moments of his life. We don't want to talk about all those things. What we do want to do is we want to highlight the accomplishments that this man achieved. He was an amazing football player. In 1968, he received the Heisman Trophy at the New York Downtown Athletic Club. From 1969 to 1977, played halfback for the Buffalo Bills. He was voted College Football Player of the Decade by ABC Sports in 1970. From 1972 to 1976, he makes the NFL Pro Bowl team each year. 1974, he appeared in his first big time budget movie, The Towering Inferno. From 1978 to 1979, he played halfback for the San Francisco 49ers. 1979 to 1986, he was a sports commentator for ABC Sports. 1984 to 1985, he was a commentator for ABC Monday Night Football. And in 1985, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One of my fond memories of O.J. Simpson was seeing that commercial where O.J. Simpson was running through the airport to give this man his bag that he left at check-in, and he ran all the way down to the gate to give him his bag, jumping over people and hurdling bags and jumping over seats. That's the O.J. Simpson that we all know and love, and that's the O.J. Simpson that we want to remember. So, to the Simpson family, although I'm sure none of you are probably watching my podcast, it's really okay. But in spirit, we just want to say we remember the juice. We are praying for your family during this time of loss, during your time of bereavement, because, people know what they know. People think what they think about OJ. But at the end of the day, that was somebody's father. That was somebody's brother. That was somebody's son. That was somebody's mentor. That was somebody important. He has been the butt of a lot of jokes. He has been the comment of discussion, the topic of discussion on a lot of newscasts, podcasts, around the water cooler. Even talked about him on the movie Barbershop when he got up and he said, OJ did it. Yeah, that's not what we're talking about tonight. Tonight, we remember the juice. So, OJ, we thank you for the legacy. We thank you for your accomplishments. And we salute you, sir, from the StepSaidIt podcast. All right. So now, let's move on to breaking news. It is Cicada Geddon 2024 coming up in just a few weeks. We have maps that show where trillions of cicadas will emerge in the US this spring. Now, before I did this breaking news, I had to do some research because I had some conversations with some people. We talked about some things, and one of the things that we talked about was I always thought a cicada was a locust. Found out today, a cicada is in fact not a locust. A locust is from the grasshopper family. Locusts do more of damaging crops. Locusts do more damage to your plants, and cicadas are more from the cricket family, and they do more damage to small trees. Um, I always thought that locusts were dangerous, and they probably are. Cicadas, on the other hand, they're loud, they make a lot of noise, but there has not been a reported case, to my knowledge and my research, of a cicada bite anywhere. So, with that being said, I don't know what to tell y'all to do to get ready for Cicada Geddon, but just know the US is going to be getting a lot of cicadas. Y'all saw what I did right there? Put up on ching. It was pretty good, if I must say so myself. And I must say so myself. So, okay, so hold on. Let me show some of these comments here. Let me show some of these comments. I'm tickled at tonight's episode of Step Geo. Hey, listen, we got to give the people what they need, not just what they want. And part of what they need is information. All right. And so I'm providing information about the cicadas to the best of my knowledge. Um, so I had a conversation with some coworkers, and one of the questions was, so what bit you on the neck? You know what? I'm not really sure what bit me on the neck. I'm still convinced that that was probably a locust or a cicada or something. Something bit me and it hurt because I felt like I got shot in the neck and it hurt and it was really bad. But maybe because I didn't go to the hospital then, my cicada bite didn't get reported. So that's why there hasn't been any reported cases of cicada bite. But something bit me on the neck and it was bigger than a horsefly. And when I grabbed it, it was like in my hand. And so my daughter just in IG, she just asked me if I'm sure it wasn't a horsefly. When I grabbed it off my neck, it was bigger than a horsefly. I don't know that it was a super spider. I doubt it because it had wings, whatever it was. Um, so do you have superpowers? I mean, yeah, I'm me. Like, how much more super do you need? Thank you. Thank you. And so that is our breaking news on tonight. Oh my God, was it a bat? Listen, I hope to God that it wasn't a bat. That's no, no, no. That's no, no, no. But this is the good thing. The good thing is I am yet here. I am yet alive, and I I cannot fly, although I hadn't tried. I don't have my fighting. I don't have no web in my hand. Can't do that. I can't climb the wall. Although I have been known to make other people climb the wall. Um, but yeah, no, that's not a. I don't have that power or ability. Um, but there you go. So that is breaking news for tonight. Now, listen, the phone lines are open. You can call in right now at 769-487-6327. You can call in right now and be on the show. Once again, that telephone number 769-487-6327. Now, I did this last week and I put it out there and I'm going to put it out there again this week. I'm going to do a very brief segment called Stomp Step. Stomp Step is a segment of the show where I have the phone lines open. Now, the phone lines will be open all night, but in this segment right here, you have a very small window to do this, but you get to call in and ask me a question that you think I will not answer. Because remember, the tagline on the Step Said It show is if you ask me, I'll tell you. So you can call in right now for this brief moment in time for the segment that I like to call Stomp Step. Now, while we're waiting, we're going to move on. But now, once I get into my letter tonight, we're not going to be able to stump step because I can't do two things at once. Now, y'all know I got to be able to, I got to manage the show and I got to do. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I'm up for a challenge. What? That's easy, but I don't want to tear up the show. Tear it up then. If you think you can stump me, call in. And you can remain anonymous. You don't have to tell me who you are. I won't divulge who you are. You can call in and you can ask me anything. And if you ask me, I will tell you. Let me make my screen big for a second. Make the screen big. Let y'all know I ain't out here just afraid of y'all. I am not out here afraid of what y'all may try to say to me. Turn some. So, what I do want to do. Oh my goodness, I love my people. I love my people so much. I got my guy. Nate is watching on tonight. Nate is a great DJ. I'm not gonna say what his name is on the show. Yes, I am. His name is Nasty Nate. And then he got that button he pushing and say, Nate, why you so nasty? I keep trying to get Nate to put me on one of his shows so he can DJ. I can be his hype man. I think we'll make a great team. Watching. I got another person that asked, where do I get one of those cups? So listen, that's a great question. I'm actually gonna start opening up a space for swag. Right now I can only get one cup, and this cup was given to me as a gift because, as you all know, my first episode of Step Said It was actually on my birthday. And so this was given to me as a gift. However, if you all are interested in some Step Said It swag, I will be more than happy to open up the Step Said It store on the Step Said It website, which is www.stepsaidit.com. And here we go. Not you on a cup. Not you got a cup too. Marketing budget is thick. Listen, I receive it. I'm point to the camera. I receive it right now in Jesus' name for a thick marketing budget. Yes, we'll take it all right now. And we're gonna talk about how y'all can support this thick marketing budget in just a moment. So now I got a couple of comments over here on Instagram. I got, where can I get a response about, where can I get a response? How about that, Steph? That's Felicia. That's Felicia. Felicia, I'm gonna call you after the show. How about that? All right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Somebody said, Amen, open the store. All right. We're gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna start selling Step Said It swag. But I'm not fulfilling orders until I get orders. Okay. So your order will be created once the order has been placed. But we will start working on getting some swag out there so you all can help me brand the show. So here we go. Let's get into tonight's letter. Now, this is going to be an intense letter for me. Going to be a really good discussion. And again, I'm going to leave the phone lines open. So if you all want to call in, if you want to chime in, and again, even in the chat, you can drop your comments in the chat. But here is tonight's letter. It reads, Dear StepSaidIt podcast, I have been friends with a particular man for at least 20 years. He and I have had a great relationship for all this time, but we recently decided to move a step further. We've always flirted around with the idea of being together, but the timing and, quite frankly, his lifestyle weren't conducive to us exploring the idea. I have a question about his lifestyle. We shared a beautiful evening together, but things became really weird a few days afterwards. I have a question about a beautiful evening. He randomly exploded in a jealous fit towards me, and I don't know what may have caused it. I think that beautiful evening may have caused that jealous fit, but we're going to talk about that in a second. I saw little hints that he had a temper, but I never experienced it directly. He has since apologized several times, but things are so weird now, and I don't know how to move on from here. What do you think I should do? And side notes, these are crickets and not cicadas. So, first of all, thank you for reaching out to the Steps Edit podcast. You asked the question, and so I am going to answer you. You asked me, so I'm going to tell you. Let's go back to the top of this letter, and we're going to break it down line by line, and we're going to see how we can get some information. I have been friends with a particular man for at least 20 years. He and I have had a great relationship for all this time, but we recently decided to move a step further. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I think it is very important that you establish romantic relationships. Oh, no, 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 no. Let me run that back. I think it is great if you are able to establish a romantic relationship with a person that you are already friends with. Part of developing relationships is getting to know someone. But when you are getting to know someone as a friend, then there's a different level of authenticity, and there's a different level of transparency. And so there are certain things that I may be willing to divulge to you as a friend that I may not be so quick to divulge to you in a romantic relationship pursuit. Um, and it may not be as friends. I'm not looking down the barrel of all of these questions. As my friend, we just grow as friends and we become great friends, and you develop a place in my heart and in my life as my friend. And so I think everyone who is involved in a romantic relationship should be friends with the person that you're involved with. Now, let me say this. I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that your partner should be your best friend. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that your person that you are romantically involved with should be your best friend. Okay. Um, and let me just say, I'm not expecting everybody to agree with me. I'm not expecting everybody to necessarily like what I'm saying. I'm not expecting, this is my podcast. Now, again, my phone line is open. So if you want to come in and have this conversation with me, you are more than welcome to come on in the room and we can talk about it. But I do believe that any person that you are romantically involved with, I think you should be friends first. That's my thoughts. I think you need to become friends first before you grow into a romantic situation. Let's just be friends. Now, if you are watching this podcast, either live or on the playback, and you are already in a romantic situation and you are not necessarily friends with the person that you're in a romantic situation with, then hey, um, y'all need to work on being friends. You need to work on growing that relationship simultaneously. But yeah, that's again, that's my thought, that's my view, and this is my podcast. So this is how I get to talk about it. So let's jump back into the letter. It says, I've been friends with a particular guy for 20 years. He and I have had a great friendship for all this time, but we recently decided to move a step further. We've always flirted around with the idea of being together, but the timing and quite frankly, his lifestyle weren't conducive to us exploring the idea. Now, my question is, what is his lifestyle that would not be conducive for you all to be in a relationship? Part one. And then what changed about his lifestyle that would make it conducive to the point where now you're willing to consider it. This is somebody you've been friends with for 20 years. So this is not somebody you just met. This is not somebody that you just kind of bumped into. This is not somebody that you ran into. Uh Hold on. Okay. I was gonna wait. I was gonna wait on these comments, but hold on. I got to put this one out here. So Nate said the reason why his lifestyle was not conducive because he was in the jailhouse. Boy, you tough. You something else with yourself on this one. Uh yeah, that's here we go. There's a reason they have different names: soulmate and best friend. Great point, Maddie. Great point. Um, your soulmate, but that brings up another question. That brings up another question. I'm gonna have to come back to that question. So just know I'm gonna come back to the question of best friend and soulmate in just a minute. Okay. Because I'm gonna drop this question in there just so I can remember to come back to it. But my question is your soulmate always a romantic person? Can you have a soulmate that is a best friend? Okay, we're gonna get back to the letter, but we're gonna unpack this one a little bit more. Hold on, there was another comment that I have to show. So this is my daughter Naya, and Naya said, we just talked about this. Yes, we did. We sure did. So take notes and pay attention. So here we go. And I see the comments coming in. Thank you all for jumping in. Here we go. So let's jump back into it. He said, we flirted around with the idea of being together, but the timing and quite frankly, his lifestyle weren't conducive to us exploring the idea. So I wish I knew who this person was so we could really dig into this a little bit more. Because I would like to know what was the lifestyle that was not conducive for you all to be in a relationship. Was he involved with somebody else? Did he have another, situation going on? Was he institutionalized? Was he not emotionally or psychologically or spiritually or financially in a place where you wanted him to be, and this is your way of excusing him away by saying his lifestyle was not conducive? So what was your lifestyle? Because that entire line talks exclusively about him. Let's keep reading. You said we shared a beautiful evening together. I want to know what. Oh, y'all giving me life in these comments tonight, and I'm coming back for them. I promise. I promise I'm coming back for these comments. So you said we shared a beautiful evening together, but things became really weird a few days afterwards. So in this beautiful evening, did this beautiful evening become physical? In this beautiful evening, were you vertical or horizontal? In this beautiful evening, did you get, as Olivia Newton-John would say, did you get physical? I think that was that Olivia Newton-John. Let's get physical, physical. I want to get physical. Hmm. Because one thing about introducing physicality into relationships is it tends to muddy the water. When you start introducing that physical aspect, and I'm not just talking about physical, an intimate hug or holding hands and all of that. I'm talking about when y'all, you know, when y'all doing the grown folk, when y'all doing the married folk, when y'all doing, you know, y'all doing the, like they say on the Net Professor, when they got to the warning and woo, might make your head pop off. Yeah. When you get into that, you know, like, I don't see nothing wrong with this little high lovely relation. This ain't nothing wrong with it. They take them to the movie, bring me some flowers. Man, y'all saw the Nutty Professor. Y'all know what grandmama said. Grandmama said, he take me to the movie, bring me flowers. See nothing wrong, man. Come home and we have a hot, lovely relation. That's what grandmama said. But when you in a relationship and you start introducing them hot, lovely relations, then them hot liver hovely hot. I said hovely twice, y'all. Hot, lovely. I guess that's hovely. If it's hot and lovely, it's hovely. Hashtag that, y'all. Hashtag hovely. Okay, you heard it here on Step Said It. That's how you take a mistake, you turn it into a brand. Hovely. We had a hovely evening. Um, I'm sorry. I'm doing too much right now. I'm sorry, y'all. Please forgive me. Okay, so I'm loving it. And so here we go. So you said we shared a beautiful evening together. Then things became really weird a few days afterwards. He randomly exploded in a jealous fit towards me, and I don't know what may have caused it. Okay, so if you don't know what may have caused it, let's think back into what happened right before his jealous fit. Once again, we don't have a whole lot of context into what happened. And so here we go. See, thank y'all. Thank you. See, this is what I need right here. This is my people coming through for me. It's lovely. It's lovely. A lovely evening. Wait, what is this? See, there y'all go. Y'all cutting up. Was he delivered? I wasn't supposed to go to them comments yet. I'm gonna go back to the comments. All right, let me stay focused. Stay focused. Okay. He randomly exploded in a jealous fit towards me, and I don't know what may have caused it. I saw little hints he had a temper, but I never experienced it directly. So let me help you understand something. If you saw hints that he had a temper, whether he showed it towards you or not, he has a temper. Just because he did not show that temper to you, that does not mean that you are exempt from the temper. I love it. Sounds like a lovely evening was had. Mm-hmm. All right, now all I'm saying is for all of y'all out here, when y'all start using lovely on a regular basis, remember where you heard it first. You heard it right here on the Step Said It podcast. It's a lovely podcast. All right. So he randomly exploded in jealous fit towards me, and I don't know what may have caused it. I saw little hints he had a temper, but I never experienced it directly. He has since apologized several times, but things are so weird now, and I don't know how to move on from here. What do you think I should do? So here we go. Let's break this all the way down to the bare minimum. Do you like him? And because y'all been friends for 20 years, do you like him like that? Is this somebody that you can see when you close your eyes and you project yourself down 10 years from now? Do you see him in a space that is not your friend? When you close your eyes and you project 5 years from now, do you see him in a space that is not your friend? Now, if y'all been friends for 20 years, y'all probably gonna be friends. There was a comment that was made earlier that said, there was a comment that was made earlier that said, It can destroy a good friendship. So let me just say this. I have been in a relationship with a friend. The relationship did not work out, but we were able to maintain our friendship. The relationship didn't work out, but we were able to maintain our friendship. Did we have to go through a healing process from the relationship not working? Yes, we did. But before we got into the relationship, we had established that the friendship would not suffer because of a failed relationship, because the relationship was that strong. And we did, in fact, maintain our friendship. And so I can't necessarily say that um a friendship is destroyed by a relationship. But this is the other thing that I can say. In that friendship or in that relationship, we never got physical. Or to be specific, we never had a lovely evening. We had a lot of fun together, but it was never lovely. And so because we never got physical, it didn't taint the waters. Now you have some people who'll say, well, if y'all never got physical, then all you were friends. I disagree, because you can be involved romantically with somebody and not be physical. A lot of us don't want to be romantically involved with somebody and not be physical. But you can be romantically involved with somebody and not be physical. I ain't gonna even turn on the crickets for that one. The facts are the facts. Okay, so back to my caller. So here we go. Do you like him like that? Or dare I say, do you love him like that? So if this is somebody that you would want to pursue a relationship with, then the first thing I'm gonna tell you to do is you and he need to sit down and talk. And you all need to have a very open, very honest, very candid conversation. If this is somebody that you want to maintain a friendship with, but you don't want to pursue a relationship with, the two of you need to sit down and talk. And that conversation needs to be very open, very honest, and very candid. If because you all had a lovely evening and you no longer want to, and you just don't know that you can now rekindle that friendship, the two of you need to sit down and have a talk. That conversation needs to be very open, very honest, and very candid. Are you noticing a trend here? So you're asking me, what do I think you should do? I think you and he should sit down and have a conversation. And that conversation should be very open, very honest, and very candid. You cannot not have the conversation and then just kind of let's see what happens. And I don't know how old you are, because nothing about your age was divulged in the conversation. I would imagine if y'all been friends for 20 years, you are at least 30, 30 to 35, maybe 40. But I'm gonna give you that 30 to 35 range. 30, let's say 30 to 50. At this stage in my life, excuse me, at this stage in my life, I cannot just let things happen. I can't just, well, let's just see. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm done near 50. I need to know what we doing. I need to know how this is gonna go. I need to know what direction we taking. I need to know, because I don't have time to read your mind. And so to the person who wrote the letter, I y'all need to sit down and y'all need to talk. And y'all need to have a real conversation. And you need to say to him, we were great as friends. We could probably make it as lovers, but we've got to establish some things. If you've been friends with him for 20 years, you are you've seen him handle other relationships. So you know how this guy is in relationships. So there's a part of that that you don't have to figure out. There's a part of that that you don't have to learn. You've already seen it, you already know it. Here we go. Got a question. Would a guy be freaked out if this was the other way around? Um, when you say this was the other way around, are you saying if she got jealous and if she went in a jealous fit towards him? I don't think so. I don't think well, I think the feeling would be mutual. I think if the tables were turned, then the guy would feel the same way that this I'm I'm assuming this is a lady who wrote this. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So, Maddie, to answer your question, yeah, I would. I wouldn't think that a guy would be freaked out. If he is freaked out, that's a very immature guy. Oh, so you said on the first date. Well, was it was it Hovely on the first date? And then this is not a this is you can say it's a first date, but you really can't say it's a first date because they've been friends for 20 years. So this may be our first romantic date, but this is not our first time going out. I'm pretty sure as the woman, she probably played his wingman. And as the man, he probably played her wingman in a few instances. They've been each other's shoulder to cry on. They've been each other's sounding board. They've been each other's if you kill him, I'll help you bury the body. These are all things that you know. And even in the letter, so you said it's weird that she mentioned the temper. Well, he snapped out on her, or he had a jealous fit towards her, but she said she had seen this before. Again, if y'all been friends for 20 years, if you have jealousy issues or if you have anger issues, you can't hide those for 20 years. And even if you could hide them from the person you're romantic with, you cannot hide them from your friend. Because if you have to hide your feelings from your friend, that's not your friend. Here we go. Now he said if they don't have a conversation, then one of them, if not both, will just be left wondering about each other. The air wouldn't be clear and the friendship would be on thin ice. Well said, my daughter. That was great. And you're exactly right. A conversation has to be had. And it's not going to be an easy conversation. It's not going to be a hee hee ha ha conversation. Uh it's one of those conversations that need to be had and you can't have your feelings on your sleeve. Because if I know you got your feelings on your sleeve, I'm not going to be so open and I'm not going to be so apt to be open and honest with you. Because even as your friend, even though we had this lovely night, we had this wonderful evening, even as your friend, I don't want to hurt you. And so if I'm afraid that you're wearing your feelings on your sleeve, then I'm going to be very careful in what I say. But I need to be able to have an open and honest conversation with you. Make sure ain't nobody call me. Make sure I ain't got no missed call. No missed call. All right. So yeah, I have to be able to trust that we can have this conversation without repercussion. If people describe you as a friend for 20 years, would your temper be a part of that description? And if it wasn't, wouldn't that be concerning? So again, that's the point that I made is like all of my friends, my real friends, my close friends, the people who've been rocking with me for a long time, they know they know if I have a temper, they know what will trigger my temper, they know how to temper my temper, they know when to take me serious, they know when I'm just having a moment. They know when you be like, he ain't serious. He's saying that, but he don't mean it. And then they know, oh, he's serious this time because a real friend, and particularly a friend of 20 years, that's not a superficial friendship. And so, if people describe you as a friend for 20 years, would your temper be a part of that description? If someone came to me and asked me to describe a friend, if I knew that person had a temper, depending on the person who's coming me asking me the question about them, if if I know the person has a temper, I am probably going to say, yeah, now they can be a little bit of a hothead. He good people, she good people, but they can be a little, they can be a little over the top sometimes. So you got to be careful how you do this, or you got to be careful how you do that. And so once again, to my letter person, my letter writer, um, first you have to have a conversation. But before you have a conversation with him, you got to have a conversation with yourself. Because before you go into that conversation and talk to him, you need to know what you want to do. You need to know what you are willing to accept. You need to know what you are willing to adjust. You need to know specifically where you stand with him, where you want to stand with him, and what direction you want to see this go. And you need to have all of those things lined out before you have a conversation with him. Now that doesn't mean you have everything written down in pen and signed in blood, but you definitely have it penciled in so that you know what direction you're willing to go. And then the other thing is you need to give him time to pull the same thoughts together. So it could be that you drop the conversation and be like, "Hey, Leroy, we need to talk. We need to have a conversation about dot dot and dot and where we want to go and what we want to do." So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 24 to 48 hours to think about what you want. I'm going to take 24 to 48 hours. I'm going to think about what I want. And then we're going to agree to come together at this time and we're going to have this conversation and we're going to hash this out. And we're going to hash this out with the agreement that we will mutually decide what we want to do. Because I value you too much as a friend to lose you. But if I must lose you as a friend, I don't want to lose you like this, if that makes sense. Whew. So you've got to ask yourself, do I want this guy? Do I want this guy like that? Do I want this guy to be my guy? Do I want this guy to be my my person? Do I want this guy to be the one I'm locked in with? Do I want this guy to be that guy for me? Like, is that what I want? She's known him for however many lovely years. She should know what triggers his temper. It's concerning that he showed his booty on the first date. It would personally make me run as a romantic partner. And that's fair. That's fair. Um, at the end of the day, a conversation got to be had. A conversation has to be had. So I have about 9 minutes before I wrap up the show. And I asked the question earlier: does your soulmate have to be romantic? Can your soulmate not be a romantic partner, but be a best friend? And so y'all chime in the chat. Y'all tell me, does your soulmate have to be your romantic partner? So I have one that says your soulmate can be a best friend. Great. Can does soulmate always equal mate? Does soulmate always equal mate? So I have one person that said I would think so. All right. So I got soulmate can be a best friend, and the soulmate has to be a mate or a partner. So we got one for one. I'm gonna give it a couple of seconds and then I'm gonna chime in on my part. Does your soulmate always equal your mate, your romantic partner? Hmm. Y'all got quiet. Now I don't like having dead space on the show. Y'all talk to me now. Y'all tell me something. I'm gonna put my 2 cents in just a second. If you keep putting comments up here and your pictures over there, I'm gonna show it. No, not at all. I think some of us are bound to be single, so we find soulmates in other relationships. Interesting. Very, very interesting. For my Spanish speaking listeners, muy interesante. Yes, I did say that. That's the fifth Spanish phrase that I know. And here we go. So, my take on it. My take on it is number one, your your soulmate. Oh, look at my little researcher. The definition of a soulmate is a person ideally suited to another as a close friend or romantic partner. Thank you. And so the answer to the question is, or my answer to the question is, and I guess it goes to the definition, your soulmate does not have to equal romantic partner. Your soulmate can be a best friend, or your soulmate can be a very, very, very good friend. I also believe that it is possible to have more than one soulmate. But we also need to understand there's a difference between a soulmate and a soul tie. That's a conversation for another podcast. But don't feel like because you have a soul tie that that's a soulmate. And most soul ties come from having lovely evenings. Just lovely. So my answer to the question is my soulmate can be my best friend. My soulmate can also be my romantic partner. Can I have them both at the same time? Yes, I can. And that is not a threesome nor a menage a trois. because my friend will respect my relationship, and my relationship will understand the significance or the importance of my friend in my life. And there should never be a strain between the two. And that is the Steps Edit podcast on tonight. I truly hope you all have enjoyed tonight's show. Thank you so much for your engagement and your involvement. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate all the interaction and all the engagement. Uh-oh. Hold on. Stop the music. Stop the music. Because my boy Andre said that's where a lot of people get lost. Y'all finna make me run over my time. Leave me alone. We're going to have to come back to it. This has been a great conversation on tonight. As much as I feel like I've been talking with myself, I've been talking to y'all, and y'all been talking back to me. So thank you so much for getting involved with me on tonight. I do appreciate it. Listen, I do want you all to take a moment and visit my website, www.StepSaidIt.com. There, we will be providing information with upcoming events that we will have going on. We've got a lot of things coming up very soon, and I'm very excited about this. Coming up very soon, I am going to be introducing and releasing not just the Steps Edit podcast, but bringing it into a complete organization. We are going to be Steps Edit Entertainment. StepSaidIt Entertainment will not just provide the podcast, but we will also be doing event hosting. For those of you who know, I do host live trivia at local venues here in the Metro Jackson area. I'm also a DJ. Uh, y'all know me. Y'all know I got a little bit of everything going on, and so we're gonna be making some changes to the website here very soon. We're gonna be making some updates. So please stay tuned, stay locked in, check us out on www.stepsaidit.com. Also, on the website, please consider becoming a StepSaidIt partner. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add some swag to one of my levels. I think I may add it to levels 2 and 3. So if you become a StepSaidIt partner, we will be adding some swag. You can get maybe a StepSaidIt t-shirt or a StepSaidIt hat, maybe a StepSaidIt pen, possibly a StepSaidIt cup on level 3. But we're going to be looking into that. If that's something that you all will be interested in supporting, then hey, I'm all about giving the people what they want. Please take a moment, go and follow me across all of your social media platforms. I am StepSaidIt across all platforms. I'm StepSaidIt on Facebook, StepSaidIt on Instagram, StepSaidIt on YouTube, StepSaidIt on TikTok, StepSaidIt on Snapchat, and StepSaidIt on Twitter. So once again, thank you all so much for joining me on tonight. This has been an amazing show. I'm so glad that you all took a moment out of your evening to join me on tonight. Once again, I am Stephen B. I am the host, the proprietor of the StepSaidIt podcast. The other thing that I did not mention, you can email me at stepsaidit@gmail.com. StepSaidIt@gmail.com. There you can correspond with me about becoming a partner. If you have a letter that you want me to address on the show, please send me an email, or you can drop it to me on my website, www.stepsaidit.com. This has been the Steps Edit podcast. It has truly been a joy and a privilege hanging out with you guys on tonight. I enjoy this time. I enjoy it. And y'all listen, I started out doing 30 minutes. Y'all got me locked in at a solid hour right now. So y'all keep providing the content, keep providing the feedback. And if anybody asks you where you get your information from, You know what to tell them. Step said it. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next week.